Hello everyone. We are here on week 6 of the Disrupt Space Artist Takeover, and I'm really pleased to be meeting Lee White Samuels, who is somewhere in South London at the moment.
Yeah.
Outside.
So hi guys. Yeah, I'm in South London, more like Crystal Palace kind of sites. So yeah.
We are, you and I are one of the newest kind of groups of artists that have joined Disrupt Space. And so this is just a really good opportunity for myself and everyone else to get to know you and your practice. So maybe if you wanted to start talking to us about your journey up to the point of joining Disrupt Space.
From primary school, I was always drawing. I always remember myself drawing using Crayola colors to color in pictures and things like that. I've been inspired by cartoons, watching loads of cartoons as I've grown up, and I think that inspired me the most. I remember I had like a Looney Tunes hat with Taz on it, and he was there with a basketball, and I remember drawing that over and over again, and that's how I got my skill up. School did art. Art was a bit different. It wasn't like the art that I wanted to do, but I still had likes for it, and I kept wanting to try and do my own thing. That was a bad mistake. So I think I only got like a C in GCSE. I went to college, I wanted to be an animator. So I did media, graphics, and ICT. That went pretty well. I got decent grades, but I decided I didn't really want to be an animator so strongly. I just wanted to kind of be more of an illustrator because I realized that animation takes a lot of patience and a lot of time that I didn't really have. So then when I went to art college, I went to Camberwell Art College, I did a foundation degree. Very good time. I was a bit conflicted though, because there's graphics and then there's illustration, and I dabble with both. So I actually tried to do both, but I had a graphics tutor, but I did illustrations. And my graphics tutor hated my work, but all the illustration tutors, well, not all of them, but a lot of them liked and appreciated my work. And I used to sit on tables and vibe and bounce off other illustrators, and that was like one of the best creative times that I had. After that, I kind of went different ways. I kind of decided maybe I should just work, but I always would do freelance graphics and illustrations. Online has been quite a big thing for me as well. So from when I was in college, this is before the internet is where it is now. So I think it's when like Instagram didn't even exist really. I used to be on a website called DeviantArt, and you can upload your work, learn techniques, get brushes and all different stuff in it. So that opened up a whole avenue to me of like, oh wow, I can teach myself how to draw. And they had competitions and all stuff like that on there. I've just always been around a kind of digital atmosphere of seeing other people draw and trying to copy their skills or share my skills and things like that. I did study in professional practice in creative industries, which is a degree. I was trying to think about how could I do stuff more with my creativity, and what avenues could it go into? And I work in a school, so I've always taught like graphics and Photoshop in schools. I just wanted to see if I could expand more.
That must be another way to keep you kind of on top of the latest tools and techniques.
Well, it is, because every time me and my art teacher, like, we're friends, we just sit there and vibe, just start getting engrossed in the ideas of art and what we can do and being inspired by it. But it's very good, and it's good to see when children struggle and they're like, oh, I can't do this. And then when they've tried, you're like, wow. Another thing is where they teach us stuff. So with art, it's a very creative way. I don't want to say to you, oh, do it this way and this way only. I want to see how they're going to produce something and be like, wow, I didn't think you could do it like that, but that's actually a pretty good way to do it.
That sounds like really gratifying experience, and really different from what it sounds like your school experience was like.
Yeah, I think because when I did my studies, I had to recap how my school experience was. And a lot of what I did in the school experience of art, I didn't really enjoy. I wouldn't say it's because I had bad art teachers. I think it's because my mentality was bad. But I think a lot of students may have my mentality, in the sense of sometimes we can see art as a very big aristocratic thing that is not in the same sphere that we're in. And though I picked up artists that I enjoyed, like Patrick Caulfield from secondary school, other children might be like, who's these artists? Like, they're not even painting properly. But when they're watching Dragon Ball Z, they like those kind of things. So I did one exercise last year where we did screen printing, and we started to make like kente cloth. But then I said, all right, let me try to make this relevant to the children. And we combined the kente cloth with Dragon Ball Z characters. So we put the Dragon Ball Z characters in Kenticola, and they loved it.
Yeah, speaking in their own language.
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. So you've mentioned a couple of artists that you picked up when you were at school that inspire you or influence you. Can you tell us a little bit more about those artists and any new artists that are interesting for you at the moment?
So the artists that have inspired me over the years, as I said before, Patrick Caulfield is probably one of my biggest influences. And what I recognize that I liked about it is that it was very flat colored and line work, but it also had the contrast of detail and what I would call fine art. And the way he used it and composed it, I was like, this guy's really skilled, and this is the kind of fine art that I could see myself doing. But I've always realized what kind of style I like and what kind of style I don't like. And I think most of it is inspired by cartoons, if I'm honest.
All right. Cool.
But with cartoons, when I got to a certain age, like secondary school age, I wouldn't just look at art and draw it. I'll be seeing in the credits, who's drawn this? Who's the character designer? So Street Fighter Alpha 3 was me and my friend's favorite drawing style. And then some of these artists are very hard to find. But I found out that the guy's name is called Bengus. So I could find more of his work, copy some of his work when I was younger, and then incorporate different shapes and pen strokes into my style. Also, watching like Jackie Chan Adventures, I found a guy called Jeffrey Matusa was the person that was the character designer. So I said to myself, yeah, I want to be a character designer. So a lot of my work, which is different from Patrick Caulfield's, is that I incorporate a lot of characters in my work. On Instagram, a guy called Anthony Piper, another guy called Marcus Williams. When I see their style, I'm just inspired. Like, wow, I need to get to that level. I don't know if it's the same with fine artists, but I find that with character design artists and illustrators, it can seem a bit more kind of competitive. So there's a lot more like, can you draw this like this? And I've grown up on DeviantArt where they're competing. They're like, all right, we're gonna put characters together and see who wins. And just design it like that. I used to do that in school as well. I remember in French, I wasn't too good in French, but me and my friend used to say, all right, let's draw this today. Maybe let's draw a pimp or let's draw a villain. And then we're not listening, we're just drawing characters. And then my other friend will be the judge to say, yeah, this guy won. So just funny things like that. Yeah. But as I said, that's the casualness of it and the things that I like. And then with the graphics, people are asking me to do logos and layouts and invites and things like that. So I've always done those. But now I think I can try to take things a bit more serious and see where I can go. My work seems to gravitate more to narratives. So every character that I make seems to have a story behind it. If I've done a bit of concept art of just for the fun of it, like making up an island, there's a narrative again. And even if I listen to Lupe Fiasco, a lot of his lyrics in his songs, I'll visualize and want to draw out. So like I've got an estate as a building, that's one of his lyrics from the song Daydreaming. I've thought of narratives, but I don't think I'm strong enough to kind of hold down my own yet. But I'd like to have some kind of narrative behind what I've done, and then that can expand.
So these characters and these narratives, where are they coming? You know, are you inspired by, I don't know, the people around you, or where are you getting your inspiration for your narrative development?
A lot of my inspiration comes from living in South London to me. So I like to see characters that look like people that I would see on the street, see walking around. So if that's the dress code, I like to draw the trainers that we wear, the clothes that we wear, but also the different types of characters. And it's being inspired. Sometimes I'll just be somewhere and I might see a scene or a type of person. And then I'll be, oh, I need to draw that. Like I need to capture that part of where I live, the setting what that represents to me and what kind of story can come out of that. The story is also similar to like Aaron McGurder, who made the Boondocks, where they can be like a social kind of commentary on what's happening. You can see the different types of people that they are and how they interact and how they consider life. And if I could capture that and show that to others, that not everybody is exactly the same, but the diversity that we have in London, that's what I like to capture. A lot of my characters may be like young males, but I try to make it wider where I will draw different types of people and say, all right, so this person will be here, that person will be there. How do they relate to each other? Growing up, you can see stories and you'll be like, all right, yeah, I understand the story. But is it as realistic as it is? Are certain characters just there for tropes? Is it as balanced or unbalanced as real life is? And sometimes I want things to be a bit more unbalanced. The story that I'm trying to build up and write, I've written loads of it in my mind, but just to get it down on paper, the main character is like a darker skinned female. So a lot of characters where they are female, sometimes they get like whitewashed in the sense that you can have them dark, but then they color them even lighter than the color that a lot of females that they're trying to appeal to would appeal to. Or you have people in South London, it's always going to be about grime or it's going to be about music. I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with that, not at all, but there's a wider aspect to it. So a lot of my characters that I would have, there's no music connected to it really. It's just to say, oh, there's people like this and there's people like that, and these are what I'm presenting to you.
So you're trying to like break down the stereotypes or challenge stereotypes?
I wouldn't even say I'm challenging it in the sense of saying, oh, it's wrong. I think I'm just trying to widen the lens and to say, there's so many images and different types of people that you can portray. Let's see if we can do that. And it's even a challenge to myself because sometimes it's easy for me just to draw myself. A lot of the time, people growing up, oh, you're always just drawing this character. And then I think me realizing that there's a whole wide world of people and seeing how they are different and trying to capture that is a better way of saying, all right, artists usually will only capture the thing that they can only see or what they want to portray.
Can you tell us a bit about the pieces you're developing for Emerge, for the Emerge exhibition?
The pieces that I have are basically how people have dealt with this lockdown in different ways and things that people are going to rush to do after. So a lot of people have spoken about going to the barbers. I need to go to the barbers. This is the longest my hair's ever been, but I actually quite like it at the moment. But I want to do like maybe a bit of before and after pictures. So one of the pieces I've kind of put up already that was like a tester was unlimited exercise. So there's a lot of new lingo going around. I like those kind of words. I heard who was it? Boris Johnson said everybody can do unlimited exercise, and people were like, what does unlimited exercise mean? But you go out and you see everybody's jogging now, everybody's riding bikes, and everybody's on scooters and stuff like that. So I wanted to just capture a bit of that, but in the context of South London as well.
It'd be really interesting to hear from you about why you think an agency like Disrupt Space is really important, especially right now.
So as I said, when I was in school, I didn't quite engage in the artists that were given to me. And I was interested in art, I was interested in drawing, but I don't remember seeing any Black artists or any artists that were like quite near to me that I could feel inspired by. So if we have artists that are quite, like the world is getting smaller now with Instagram and the internet, but if you actually have physical people that live near to you exhibiting their work, it would help to inspire younger generation to see different stuff. So like with my school, I took some students that actually go to the Disrupt Space exhibition, but they saw a different lifestyle of the building it was in. They saw a different lifestyle of when the money was involved about how much these pieces of artwork go for and the age of the people that had created them. And then when Paul spoke to them about the hours that I put into it, what the artwork means, they were able to engage a bit more. So it's just being able to, as people that produce art, know how to exhibit art in a way that's accessible to a wider audience, as it can be quite niche sometimes, but just as an artist, to be able to know how to create an atmosphere that can, at sometimes or some aspects, incorporate a wider audience.
So yeah, to be more accessible and inclusive. Did you think this, your students found it empowering to go to that exhibition?
I think they saw it quite challenging, to be fair. I think some like museums and art exhibitions for young children can seem as quite an old-fashioned British thing that they're not quite used to, they don't engage in. Like if you talk to them about the Premiership, they know it. They got friends that are in the Premiership. They got people that look like them with hairstyles that they want to do. But if they want to go see Andy Warhol, they're like, I don't know this guy. Like, I know he's American and like his work looks like comics, but I don't know him. So when they saw that a lot of the work represented like African culture, and then Paul would speak to them about it, I think they found that they could engage in it in that way. And a black man is also talking to them about it as well. I think it was useful for them to see it from that aspect, that it can encourage them. Empowering, I'm not sure. I think it inspired them because of the context where it was. A lot of these students actually lived in Brixton and they didn't know that this place existed or looked like this. They was excited about like just how the elevators were gold, and when they was given water, that the water tastes so smooth. But it was a different lifestyle for them that I wanted them to experience. And art does have that regalness, that loyalty that you can royalty, sorry, that you can kind of experience with it if it's presented like that. And it can also just be in a warehouse. It can be many places, but it's for them to experience different aspects of life.